came to this country legally through a program called the Bracero program. My dad actually came here illegally.
To where I think he's netting over $1 million in his real estate business.
I have sold so many more properties than him. I have sold so many more properties on a yearly basis than him. Yet the guy was making 10 times more money than I was. I connected with him. I paid them money. I built a relationship with them. And then they gave me the formula.
Today, I have a very special guest. He is very dear to my heart. He's a mentor, coach of mine, and now business partner, Mr. Jose Luis Morales. He's sold over 800 properties in his real estate career. He owns 59 rental properties and counting. And now he runs a team of over 200 agents across the country with eXp Realty. Jose, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time today. I just want to jump in because you've had a lot of success very quickly. You know, you're 35 years old?
Yeah, 36.
36 now. And I've watched you from the beginning. You know, I was like, who is this Jose Luis Morales? He's listing every property that has expired. And that was back probably in 2015 or 14. I started noticing you because you were taking listings all over this county. And I think it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago that I reached out to you. I remember specifically you were on a run and I was trying to get in contact with you. So can you tell everybody out there kind of what was childhood? What did that look like? Did you have success on your mind? I mean, how did this all start for you?
Yeah. So I come from parents. My mom came to this country legally through a program called the Bracero program, which back in the day, they used to give legal residency to undocumented immigrants as long as they worked the agricultural field. So my mom came through that program. My dad actually came here illegally. They got married. My mom helped my dad get his residency. Then had an opportunity to buy some real estate through my mom having legal residency. Had an opportunity to buy a business because my mom had legal residency. And that's where it kind of all began. So they met they started their business in 1990. I was born in 1987. I started working at their business at the age of 9. And then I worked there from the time I was 9 to 23. But I really owe a lot of what I have done in business to that because working there, I learned a lot of principles about how to treat people, how to sell things, how to negotiate things. So I basically did every role at that business. I mean, I started when I was 9, so I started off just doing the very basics, like cleaning the restrooms, sweeping. Then I kept just offering more and more services to my parents. I kept just taking on more responsibilities. And then I built a lot of good relationships. And then at 23, I got into the business of real estate, basically.
Beautiful. And how did that opportunity come around for you?
I kind of saw a lot of people be in real estate that really came from nothing and then built wealth. Running my parents' business, I wanted to be a business owner. I've never had any other job, so aside from working with my parents, so I never really had like a real boss as you would say. I never saw myself as having a job, so I've never had worked anywhere else besides my parents and real estate. But I saw that growing up, and then I saw the type of business that my parents ran. So they ran a check cashing business as well. And in that business, I got to see a lot of different businesses, and I talked to different employees, and I realized that sometimes certain businesses look like they're making a lot of money, but in reality, they're not. So like there was like a nightclub in town that would bounce their checks every single week at our check cashing business and would appear to be really good business was actually a failing business in the background, and not a lot of people know it. So there was multiple different types of businesses. So when I went to business school, I thought about it and I said, okay, what type of business could I run that's a service-based business where I don't have a cap on my income, that also provides opportunities to invest, and I don't have like monthly, like high overhead, like a monthly building, or I have to replenish supplies like food. So I said, okay, real estate is actually that type of business where I can run it with very little startup cost. In addition, I was already pretty familiar with it because my parents invested in real estate growing up. So that's what was attractive to me as well, too.
That's awesome. So you kind of saw it as a perfect vehicle for you where you could be independent and run your own business basically with no cap on it. Very cool.
Yeah, with very little overhead to start off with.
I mean, how did Jose develop? I mean, I think your biggest year has been over 2.4 million in revenue as far as commissions go. Was it always like that? What did the beginning look like?
No, so I actually struggled when I got into real estate. So for 6 months, I didn't really sell anything. I was hungry. I wanted to sell a lot of homes. I just didn't understand the actual business. So I had a mentor, which approached me at the 0-month mark when I was a brand new agent. They said, look, I'll teach you everything I know. I will charge you 50% of your commissions. I said, I don't need your help. I'm good. I'll figure it out on my own. And I didn't sell a single property for 6 months. I was lucky enough that person approached me again at the 6-month mark. And he told me that he would teach me everything he knew, but that he would still charge me 50% of my commissions. I said, okay. The next 6 months, I sold 9 properties, then maybe like 19 after that, and I think 16. So I went back 1 year. And then after that, from 16, it jumped to like 39. But I was really blessed that I've had really good mentors in my life. So, and that I've been humble enough to actually like listen to their advice as well too. So I've been humble enough to be like, okay, look, there's stuff I don't know. Teach me what you know. And I've been willing to pay with no ego. So that happened where he taught me a lot. He got me to about maybe like 20, 25 deals a year. And then I got my next mentor, which obviously, his name was Aaron Novello, and he taught me how to list properties in high volume. But I think a lot of what helped me early on is the business background that I had along with business school. It helped me out tremendously because when I got into real estate, I didn't come into it with a short-term mentality. I came into it like, okay, how can I build something long-term? And how can I build something that I can make a lot of money, but also do something good for the community? And that business background helped me out tremendously. So a lot of my foundation started at the Cowboy store. And then obviously it developed through having different mentors in my life.
That's awesome. So you went from 39 sales. At that point, were you running a team, and what was your strategy to get business at that point?
No, so from when I went from like 19 or 16 to 39, the change that I made is I went from buyers to working with sellers. But that change is very difficult for most people because it requires that you let go of something. And at that time, it was difficult for me as well, too, because I had to let go of working with buyers. And I was very good at working with buyers. And at that point, most of my business was buyers. But I was blessed that I lived at home with my parents. I didn't have a lot of overhead. Once again, I was humble enough to say, hey, look, I want to have low overhead. Every dollar that I made, I started buying rental properties. So by the time I moved out of my parents, I owned 3 properties already. I had maybe like $4,000 or $5,000 coming in monthly residual. So when it came time to making the transition to a listing agent, I had other income coming through, and I had a certain amount of money in the bank already where I felt comfortable saying, look, if I don't produce for the next 6 months or a year, I'm okay. And I made a decision that if I was going to sell real estate, that it was going to come from the listing side. So at that point, I hired my sister as a buyer's agent. And then I started giving her every single buyer that was ever referred to me. I didn't cherry pick. I didn't take on the best buyers and give her the worst buyers. I just gave her everything. And if I was going to make personal income, it was going to be from the listing side. So that year I did 39 deals from the listing seller side. There was just a lot more leverage. And I did so by reaching out to sellers that had different life events going on in their life. And I reached out to them and offered my real estate services to them at that point.
Gotcha. Beautiful. And what were some of the strategies to get these sellers? Because to sell now over 100 properties a year, there's some strategies involved. What does that look like nowadays?
So I would say that there's a couple things. One of them is just skills. Like I have practiced different scenarios as it relates to having different conversations with sellers over and over for many, many, many years. I would also say I thought outside the box. Like I think that most real estate agents are programmed a certain way, and they're programmed to think of things a certain way when the reality it's not. So I think one of my gifts is that I would always look at other businesses around me and see what they were doing and then see if any of that was applicable in the real estate industry. So I'll give you a quick example. Like we have title reps in our business. We have insurance reps in our business. And you always see those insurance and title reps targeting real estate agents or attending real estate events or sponsoring real estate events. I did that very early on in my career. I said, well, real estate agents do that, or title reps and insurance rep do that to realtors. Who can I do that to? So I started attending attorney events early on in my career. So I didn't live in a box where there were certain rules. I basically created my own rules and use some of the business experience that I had. But if somebody wanted to build a large listing business today, I would say find people that have different things going on in their life that would cause them to need to sell their property, look for patterns, and then find a way to keep in touch with those people. So we called for sale by owners, we called expires, we called probates, we called pre-foreclosures, we called obituaries, we called VA loans, we called a bunch of different people that would likely have an event that would cause them to need to sell. And then we just built relationships with them. So basically we keep in touch with them long term and we provide them with valuable real estate information. And they know that if they want to get top dollar, then we can help them with that, you know? So it's just talking to people, basically having conversations with people and then marketing yourself in a way where people know that you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I see that with agents, within the industry. In the beginning, for me, skills was so foreign. And by skills, you're really talking about role playing and learning the conversations to be able to convert at a higher level with people that are ready to transact, right? And I think this is huge because it's a piece that I was missing. I had the knowledge, 13 years being in real estate, and we continue to learn through your coaching, because when you sell over 800 properties, you tend to learn a lot, and you also go to investor events. There's a lot of networking meetings and masterminds that you go to learn more, and you pour that back into us, which has helped me in Delaware statutory trusts, analyzing properties for certain cap rates, multifamily, and things like this. So, I that's what I was missing, though, was the skills part, because it felt so foreign to me to role play. I didn't feel like it was authentic. But what I realized is by doing it and having these, learning the scripts and really learning a predetermined conversation, that I'm actually able to convert business at a higher level with objection handling. So thank you for your university, which you have hundreds of calls of you speaking with people and having these conversations, which has helped download your language into my brain, and it's helped me convert at a higher level. So I want to thank you for that, for sure.
You're welcome.
And you've definitely dramatically increased my business through those conversations. So, but it's two things, right? It's skills plus having the knowledge really makes you a dynamic salesperson. So I know that you're not inclined as a salesperson. When you take in a personality test, that's not really the thing that pops up for you. What was that journey like? I mean, you mentioned a little bit that you would role play and stuff. For agents who are looking to increase their business, if they're foreign to this idea of role playing, what did your schedule look like? And also, let's talk about some of the scripts that you went into, because I know in the beginning you didn't have a lot. You mentioned that you went on a bunch of listing appointments to me. I think it was like 100 listing appointments that year, and you only got about 5 of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So what was the change there? What happened in what you were doing, and what helped you grow at a higher level?
Yeah, so I think for me, it was kind of just testing out different things. I had some mentors in my life saying, "Oh, do it this way," and other mentors doing it that way. And then Aaron really helped me out by basically saying, look, use common sense, use your brain, like actually think about things. And he gave me kind of permission to make business decisions as opposed to creating all these rules in my head as to what I could do, what I couldn't do, what I could say or what I couldn't say. Then what helped me out, I would go to Mike Ferry events back in the day. And my whole purpose of going to the Mike Ferry events was, one, obviously just to pick up different things from Mike. But the other thing was I would seek role play partners there. So one of the things that Aaron told me early on in my career is to role play with people that intimidate you, role play with people that are substantially better than you. So I started role playing with people that were doing a lot more business than me. And what ended up happening is that because I was role playing with them, it forced me to really level up my game. I remember the very first person that I role played with that was doing like 60 deals a year, and I was maybe doing like 20. And I was used to role playing with people that were doing like 20, 30. And he jumps on the call, doesn't even say hello, just starts throwing objections at me back to back to back to back. No hi, no how you doing, nothing. And I was like, oh damn, this is like the next level. This is what it's like to practice with people like this. And that was like really like almost like, wow, this is good. And he was the first person that ever gave me the opportunity to do that. And then what ended up happening is I just kept seeking people out. So I started role playing with people that were doing 100 deals, 200 deals. So I've role played with the very best agents across the country, and they've taught me so many different things. And then I just made those my own, so I've taken a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from there. And then I just kind of used that to just really make that my own and to be able to sell a bunch of real estate with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a different style. And the thing is, like, if you look at any of the top salespeople outside of our industry, they role play on a daily basis. My in-law, he actually sells medical lasers, and he sells fat loss removal to all these high-end doctors. And with his team on a daily basis, he role plays different scenarios. So when we get into real estate, and there's not really this training with a lot of different companies. And because of that, it actually, we don't really know where to go. Right. So you found Mike Ferry, which is kind of like the system of like, look, we are salespeople. And for a long time, I always said, like, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a real person. And what I found is that it actually helps you help the consumer a lot better when you learn these conversations to have with the clients. Because, for example, I had somebody who was going to list with a part-time agent. If I had not role played that scenario, I would not have converted that into business, and ultimately it would have been a detriment to the client. So with that being said, that kind of leads me into our next topic, which is EXP Realty, and not only EXP Realty and what that has to offer, but more specifically, partnering with us at the Elite Builders. What is the value stack, and what do we have to offer agents that are considering coming to EXP?
Yeah. So I think anybody can give them access to EXP, but what I think that most people don't realize is that the people who you select as your sponsors is really the big decision that you have to make. Moving to EXP is like a fairly simple decision, and anybody can give you access to that. But I think most people aren't strategic as to who they choose as their sponsor. So I'll give you an example. I was very strategic. I chose Lars Hedenborg as my sponsor, and the reason is that I felt that he had good ethics. I felt that he was a good role model. Not only that, but he has coached people on how to build businesses in the real estate space. So he's coached a lot of the teams that have done 2, 3, 4, 500 deals a year, and he was their coach in like a no fluff type of guy. So I think what we can offer that a lot of people maybe don't offer is a very good leadership team. So EXP has a leadership team with them. We have our leadership team underneath our organization. And the way that we've developed that leadership team is we have found the very best people in the world that offer additional coaching on top of what EXP has to offer. So if somebody wants to grow a business in real estate, great, we connect them with ours. Somebody wants to grow a 5,000 person organization with their rev share, we connect them with AJ Maida, who's our partner right there, who already has done that. We're connecting them with people that have already done what people want to do. Somebody wants to grow a large social media presence, they can connect with me. I have over 500 subscribers/followers through all platforms. Somebody wants to become a dominant listing agent, we connect them with Aaron, because I don't think there's anybody else better in this world than him. Somebody wants to get technology help, we have a guy named Jason Walters. Somebody wants to get fit, we connect them with Sean San Jose, somebody who's got a six-pack, So I think what is different from our organization than others is we have a really strong leadership team, and that leadership is only continuing to get better and continuing to get stronger. So I think that agents have a lot more support with our organization than other organizations.
Yeah, and we're starting to get calls from other organizations of people that are part of their downline trying to get access to what we offer. I get questions all the time, where's the university and whatnot. But that's the beautiful thing that you guys have set up, or that we have. If you're a new agent, you can plug into the university. Like you said, if you're looking to build a business, somewhere that operates passively, meaning he's not very involved in his business, and yet it still cranks out deals every month, multiple, to where I think he's netting over $1 million in his real estate business. Let's talk about social media. What kind of got you onto that aspect, and how have you grown so quickly? Because I remember, I think I saw you at maybe 9,000 followers, and then you went from 9,000 to like 50,000 followers, and then from 50 on Instagram, you jumped to like 145,000 followers, and I know you have 300,000 on TikTok and counting. What has been the big impact for you, and what is some tangible advice for the listeners out there?
Yeah, so I think I follow the same formula in anything that I do, Sean, is I find people that are already doing what I want to do, and then I just humble myself, I pay them, and I listen to their advice on whatever it is that they tell me. So the way I grew on social media is I found people that had very large followings, I connected with them, I paid them money, I built a relationship with them, and then they gave me the formula. Same thing that I did with real estate. With real estate, I found a mentor, paid him money, he gave me the formula, I followed it, and then it worked. Same thing when I wanted to become a dominant listing agent. It's the same exact formula. So I actually reached out to Ryan Pineda. I connected with King Kong from TikTok, Sam Faster Freedom, and basically built like a little mastermind group of social media influencers, which is the same thing I did with real estate. And they taught me the formulas as to how to grow. So most people try to reinvent the wheel. I try to go to people that have already figured things out, and then I go to them. And then the second part of your question was, why did I decide to go heavier into social media? I think for me is I recognize that social media can amplify anything that you're doing. So for example, who was Grant Cardone 10 years ago?
I didn't know him.
Was he a billionaire? Who was Gary Vaynerchuk 10 years ago? Who was the Paul brothers 10 years ago? All of those people mentioned are future billionaires, and some of them already have the businesses to make them billionaires. So what I started realizing is that anybody who went very deep into social media, things became easier for them. So because they were known, they were able to hire better talent, which better talent helps you grow a business. Because they were known, they were able to build relationships with people that they maybe normally wouldn't have been able to build them because of a lack of social media following. So I think I started noticing patterns where people that aren't any smarter than me, don't work any harder than I do, started building these huge followings and huge monetizations. Like there's a guy by the name of Meet Kevin. He's in our market. I have sold so many more properties than him. I have sold so many more properties on a yearly basis than him. Yet the guy was making 10 times more money than I was. And keep in mind, I was making what most people would consider very good money. How is that possible? He just chose a different vehicle, which was social media, and everything that he did amplified and compounded. So I started noticing that. I'm like, these people aren't working any harder than I am. They're not any smarter, yet Meet Kevin has a private plane and I don't. So there's something I'm missing. And then what I did is I started building relationships with these people. So I paid Meet Kevin $4,000 or $5,000 to pick his brain for a day, you know?
Wow.
So
you got to pay to play, and that's what you've done very well. You've always seek the best in whatever you're doing. I know that you flip properties on the side, and you paid about $25,000 to be a part of the Collective Genius. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a mastermind that we pay $25,000 a year to become a part of, you know?
Yeah. So you know, anybody out there, like if you're trying to have success, let's say it's in real estate, they can reach out to us and have access to high level people that are selling real estate at a very high volume. So yeah, it blows me away. You're 36 years old. You've absolutely crushed it. Not only in real estate, you continue to grow. And I love to see the progress with everything that you're doing. So if people want to connect with you, how do they find you?
I'd probably say Instagram. Jose Luis Morales would probably be the simplest way to just connect with me.
Okay, great. And any last thoughts, any additional value you could add to the audience that you would want to speak about?
The only thing I would say to them is just find people that are already doing what you want to do, verify that they're already doing what you want to do. And then once you find them, just listen to them, like actually do what they tell you to do. And if you do that, then you'll get very far in life. The other thing that I would advise people, just be careful who you give your attention to. Like I remember when I had a new agent join my team one time. He's like, oh, this agent on YouTube is like really good. He's saying do this, and that. And then I showed him how to look up agents' track records on the MLS and on Zillow. And when we looked it up, the agent hadn't sold more than 50 properties in his entire career. Like, look, he's telling you to do this, and he sold 50 properties in his entire career. I'm telling you to do this, and I've sold 500 properties at that time. Who do you think got better advice for you? And I think that if you follow somebody that that maybe hasn't done what you want to do, but it sounds good, just be very, very careful, because there's a lot of people that will try to teach you to do things that they've never done. I can't teach you how to make a certain dish because maybe I haven't done it, maybe in the kitchen, you know. I can't tell you how to get a six pack, or I can't teach you how to get a six pack because I haven't done it, you know. I could teach you how to sell homes in high volume, and I could teach you how to invest your money into real estate because I've done both of those things. I can teach you how to grow a large social media following because I've done it. There's many things I can't teach you on, and there's many things that I would advise you not to take my advice on, but there's certain things that I can. So just find people that are doing what you want to do, follow their advice, and make sure you vet them out to make sure that they're doing what you want to do, and then follow it. So very simple.
Great advice. Absolutely. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
No, I think it's good, man. I think what you're doing is great. I think it's just continue putting out good content, continue providing value, and just continue helping people. And I think everything else will play out.
Love it. Love it, brother. Well, I appreciate your time today. If you go follow Jose on Instagram, you'll get a lot of good value out of the content that he posts, and appreciate you.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Have a great day.
Later.